Today we'll be covering one of the more challenging aspects of customer service, which is handling difficult customers. We'll cover the definition of a difficult customer and then the 5 types of challenging customers. We'll go over demanding or domineering customers, indecisive, dissatisfied or angry, rude or inconsiderate, and lastly, talkative. So, how would you define a difficult customer? There's someone who challenges a customer service provider's ability to deliver service and requires extra patience and skills. For the first type of difficult customer, we'll talk about demanding and domineering customers. These are customers who have a definitive idea about what they want and are unwilling to waver. Why are they demanding or domineering? Well, there could be several reasons. It might be part of their personality or a learned behavior, or they may have had a bad experience with a customer service rep with your organization in the past, and they're trying to prevent that by staying in control of the situation. So, how do you effectively respond to a demanding or domineering customer? First of all, you want to make sure that you stay professional. While they may be raising their voice or using rude language, you want to make sure that you're not. So keep your voice calm and don't retaliate verbally. If you do raise your voice, it'll likely escalate the situation. Second, show respect to the customer. While they may not be showing you respect and you may not particularly like them, it's still important to show them respect. This doesn't mean that you accommodate every wish. It does mean that you should be using positive verbal signs, good eye contact, remain calm, use the customer's name, be polite, and still reassure the customer that they're important to your organization. Next, you want to be firm and fair and focus on the customer's needs. Assertive behavior is often the best approach when dealing with a domineering or demanding person, but make sure that doesn't cross over into aggression. And lastly, you want to tell the customer what you can do. Don't focus on the negatives or what can't be done. Make sure that you're sticking with what you can do as an organization to remedy a situation. Next, we'll talk about indecisive customers. These are customers who have a difficult time making a decision when given choices of products or services. So what are the best ways to handle indecisive customers? First, be patient. Next, ask open-ended questions. Try to get as much background information as possible, as this will help you be able to determine their needs and assist with any solutions or ideas that could help them with their decision. Listen actively. This might help you to narrow down their interests and suggest other options. For example, if there's a warranty on a product or an exchange option, this might help to reduce some of the customer's anxiety. And lastly, guide decision making. By being assertive, not aggressive, you can offer suggestions or ideas and provide product or service information to help them make a decision. You want to make sure that you're not making the decision for them, but that you're helping them come to a conclusion on their own. Next, we'll talk about dissatisfied and angry customers. These are customers who did not or perceive that they did not receive a promised or quality product or service. They feel like they're not being treated fairly and that someone is lying or taking advantage of them. In responding to these customers, you want to listen, try to keep an open mind, and discover the basis for their anger or dissatisfaction. You want to remain positive and flexible, show that you're willing to work and negotiate with the customer, smile, give your name, and offer assistance. By projecting a can-do attitude and lowering defenses, you can get the customer to do likewise and possibly make the situation better. Be compassionate and empathize with the customer without making excuses. Your goal should be to try to understand their position and bring them back around to a point where you can work together to resolve the issue. Next, you want to ask open-ended questions and verify information. And lastly, take appropriate action. Once you've gotten the customer to lower their defenses and you know exactly what the situation is, you can work to remedy the situation and find a working solution. Now we'll discuss rude or inconsiderate customers. These are customers who are obstinate or contrary when dealing with customer service providers and seem to have their own agenda without concern for the feelings of others. It might seem that they're going out of their way to be offensive and to get attention. They might raise their voice, demand to speak to a supervisor, use profanity, cut in front of someone else in line, be very verbally abrupt, such as snapping at you, or find other ways to be offensive and in control. While this can be very frustrating, it's important to remain professional, remain calm, be assertive, and in control of the situation. One example might be if a customer is trying to cut in front of another customer, you might smile, look the person in the eye, and say firmly that you'll be with them as soon as you finish with this other person. And also, don't resort to retaliation. This will infuriate the customer, especially if you're embarrassing them in front of others. And next, we'll discuss talkative customers. These are customers exhibiting extroverted behavior that are very people-oriented. They tend to have a pleasant and very happy demeanor, but might spend an excessive amount of time talking about things irrelevant to their purchase or service, which is fine if you have the time, but if you have a lot of other work to do and other customers that are waiting on you, then it's important to find ways to handle this situation. First, you want to remain warm and cordial, but also focused. By smiling and carrying on a brief conversation, you're acknowledging them and being kind in response without trying to further the conversation. Ask specific open-ended questions, as this can help to determine the customer's main concern, and use closed-ended questions to control. Once you've determined the customer's needs, switch over to these types of questions. And lastly, manage the conversation. For example, after you've spent a good amount of time helping the customer, you might say, "If you have no further questions, I know you said you have a lot of shopping to do, so I won't keep you any longer. Thanks so much for coming in, and let me know if I can assist you further in the future." As this implies that the interaction is ending and that your purpose of ending it is to benefit the customer. Thanks for watching.
Created using Powtoon.